Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sonic Comic Chaos. I'm your host, Silver1, and joining me as always is my co-host Ian Waffles. Ian, say hi!
Help! Help me out! He keeps calling me and saying, Ian, we have to talk about Sonic comics. And I say, Ace, my friend, please drop me off the mountain. You don't have to keep pulling me along. I'm gonna only slow you down. Climb to the summit and get the fuck off. Get in the chopper, dude. But no, we're still here. I'm wrapped in my blanket in my freezing cold room because it's tied to the wrong side of the house and we haven't got the heat started. It's all gonna be fucking over. Anyway, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're almost there, folks. We're almost to where Ian Flynn. We're almost to the top of the mountain. We're almost to where Ian Flynn takes over the book, but we're not quite there yet. So today we're going to be covering a couple different story arcs, but the most important one being is Sally marrying Antoine?
Whoa! Let's go.
Before we get into that, though, I would like just to say apologies for no episode last week. Thanksgiving and family commitments got in the way of that. Technically, we're recording this before the 2-week point, but we're recording this a day before that, and it takes a day for Ian to get these to me, and I'm not editing this shit tomorrow, so it's probably going to be next week. So
let's go.
Anyway, but we were doing good with the 2-week thing, though. How many weeks in a row?
You were doing great.
Episodes in a row was that? That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a lot. So
anyway, point being, sorry about that. That might be a theme because obviously we're getting close to the end of the year and the holidays, but we'll see. Anyway,
okay, they love you.
Oh, they love you more though. But anyway, and God help us if they just decide to like shadow drop Sonic Prime at the end of the year, which
they might.
I'm quivering in my boots at that possibility. But God damn it, I had the comments pulled up and now they're gone. Hold on. Okay. Ian and Ace, read your comments. Woo! From The Missing Bits. So completely off topic. Am I the only one who voices Rotor not with the Sad AM voice, but with the Seuss voice from Gravity Falls, or am I insane?
I mean, that is better than his Sad AM voice because I guess it depends because I always voice him with like his first voice, which is more like, no, Sonic, that's too hard rock, okay? Sally won't like it. I like that voice. But then they change his voice, like in season 2, and he's like, it's me, Rotor, I'm juicing and jamming. And I hate that voice. So Seuss is a nice in-between.
I don't remember that at all. I only remember his original voice. But I really need to go back and rewatch Sad AM.
We could make that a podcast. Ooh.
We could. Maybe we will.
Maybe.
One day. But regardless, no, I don't do that, but I have a very similar thing. I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, but I've definitely told you about it, Ian. And that's that when I read Fang, who we're actually going to see in this episode, I read him with Shocker's voice from Spectacular Spider-Man. Now, Ian, you've seen that show. You tell me that that's not fucking perfect.
It's a very flattering voice.
Yeah. So anyone who's curious about this, just look up Shocker from Spectacular Spider-Man. That's Fang for me, and I fear the day it'll never happen because he's locked in the classic realm because for some reason Sega decides segmenting off their franchise is a good idea. But if it ever happens, I shudder at the thought of him getting an official voice actor because in my brain, Fang has like a thick Southern drawl.
I will say just a funny thing about Fang real quick that Ian Flynn said, and I think it describes him perfectly from what you also read this week. He said Fang is the type of guy who would come third place in a 2-man race.
That's great. That's accurate too.
It is accurate. I like Fang. He's a funny guy. Anyway,
from Bowser Breaker on the one where Sonic gets green eyes, that last episode. This arc was great. Stephen Butler delivered some great art, and this gave some cool. Okay, no, my brain's melting. They didn't. And this gave some cool, ridiculous, but fun stories. This story was distinctly Archie Sonic, weird but awesome. I would agree. And from the Real Broccoli Hour, always a treat when these guys upload. Well, thank you.
Thank you. It was very nice of you.
All right. Well, we can't put it off any longer. It's time to
talk about women. They're all on the cover. They all want Sonic, baby.
A topic me and Ian are both very fuck, this joke is floundering because I can't remember the right word.
The point is that both Ace and I are play-on-players. So
no, what's the word? God damn it! I was so proud of this joke, and then it just left my brain. Qualified. Why did the word qualified leave my brain? It's a topic me and Ian are both qualified to talk. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. The joke's
what happened
dead.
in this issue?
It's already buried in my backyard. Anyway, so Archie Sonic 152. Play on, playa. So this issue sucks. just full on.
Really,
sucks.
I mean, I agree, but I didn't think you'd hate it that much. So what stood out to you?
First of all, it's too fucking long.
It is very long. Oh my gosh, Ken Pender. Okay, so I know last week, like, you agreed that the arc where they're in the silo or whatever, you know, it had some good stuff with the art and some good character moments sporadically. But we talked about how, like, there's a lot of talking. This right here, oh my goodness.
Oh god, the time bit. The bit where they have to say the exact amount of time every time they refer to, like, a length of time.
And the art goes from, like, really good John Gray to someone shat on the page. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened either. But, like, I will say, first interesting thing is they say the exact amount of time since Robotnik took over Mobotropolis. But they say it's been 11 years. But if Sonic was lost in space, it should be 12 years, right? Because Sonic was 5 when he took over. Who cares?
I mean, you're absolutely right. So
who cares?
Here's a funny thing too. We probably won't get. Oh yeah, it'll get brought up later, but you probably wouldn't remember it. So later, Sonic's dad somewhere he says like, he's 16, Bernie. And so there was like in my video I said that he was turning 17 for his birthday, and people were arguing with me about that. Where they're like, no, like, because he turned 15 in that one issue, and then a certain amount of time passed, and he must have turned 16 then, and then it was 17, and it's like, nah, man. According to Ken Penders through Jules Hedgehog's voice, he is 17 years old if we line it up. But here's the thing: he's probably 18, but I don't know. So it's just another example of like nobody's keeping track of this shit.
Well, I'm trying to think. So we saw his 16th birthday, and then some time passed.
No, we saw his 15th birthday, right?
No, we saw his 16th. In the one where he comes back after going around the world chasing after Nuggets.
I will double check. Keep talking.
That's his 16th birthday. And then he gets shot in space. Right. And he comes back. Yes. And
oh yes, you're right. Yeah.
And then he has his birthday in Knothole, which
would be his 17th birthday.
Yeah, which would be his 17th birthday.
Yes.
I always remember this because on his wiki page it says like age 17, biologically 16.
There you go.
So yeah, but anyway.
Crazy.
So the issue starts with Eggman, and he's talking to Adam, and Adam's like, "Hey, you know what would help you take over the world is if you stop trying to kill one guy." And Eggman's like, "Shut up!" And he says something effective like, "If you think I'd like to see you try and do it better." And so Adam's like, "Okay," which is a fun premise for a story like this.
Yes.
If they did anything fun or interesting with it. But they don't, so it's not.
Yeah. I also love Eggman being like, the reason I can't beat him is because of hormones, Adam.
I was like, Ken, are you going through some stuff with your kids right now?
Yeah.
But
well, and again, and by the way, it's like, I remind you, he took over Angel Island by just flying over it and dropping bombs, but he's like, I can't destroy Sonic and him living in a tiny baby village that has no protection. What do I do?
Yeah, because Eggman knows where Knothole is, right?
Yes! Oh, it's so silly.
I mean, it makes... Well, here's the thing. With later characterization, it makes sense of him treating
Yes, I was going to say, Flynn's going to fix this and make it make sense, but for now, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. But so... Adam's like, okay, well, release the nanobots. Which are these a thing? These are a thing, right? We've seen these before.
Yeah, he used that to make the Metal Sonic from the missile arc.
Yeah, they say that.
And you're like, oh, I forgot that arc.
I tried to forget that arc. But so, then the art changes. Sonic gets to the meeting late, and they're discussing the nanobots. And they're like, if we don't stop this, it'll take over the whole world. It'll be really bad. What they do is... They devise a couple teams, and so the cover is not a complete lie because it's just like, what if we put Sonic on a team with some broads? But like, Can I say that?
Clip that, audience.
No.
Use it for whatever you want.
That was Ken saying that. That was but,
yeah, Sonic's on a team with like all the ladies, so
yeah. Not all the ladies on there are except Fiona's not on the cover. And Rouge and Sally are not on this team. But
and the
whatever.
funny thing is, if you go to the issue before this, when it shows the cover, it has Fiona where Rouge is, but I guess they decided Rouge has bigger tits, so they put her there instead.
Oh. Anyway, so they put Sonic on a team with some girls, and they put Chuck, Rotor, and Tails on, and Tommy, because Tommy's fucking here now.
It's part of the brain trust.
You sure? Is he smart? He's not smart, right?
I guess.
Like that. You know, I remember that.
You say that like that's terrifying. He's not smart, right? He's not gone sentient, has he? Oh god.
No, I feel like Rotor keeps him around because of his organizational skills, not because he can actually do anything. Like
it's true.
Oh, whatever. Anyway, and then we get the best line ever, where they're like, "Why is Sonic leading the team?" It's an oddly out of character moment for Amy because she's like, "Why is Sonic leading us?" And Sonic's like, "I'm just so cool." And Mina goes, and I quote, "Who knew that you're quite the chauvinistic oinker?" It's, you know, that's what 14-year-old girls say, right?
Canon, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Then Sonic's like, "Shut up, Mina." So then they go, and just a plethora of confusing lines here. Well, first of all, we get the page that John Gray doesn't like because they colored it to look like the American flag for some reason.
That's so fucking funny.
It's so funny. Why did they? Is it because he's giving like a rousing speech?
I mean, again, it's just because they didn't give a shit. They just did whatever they wanted.
Well, but that's a deliberate choice. Like,
no, that's what I mean. It's like nobody saw that. It was like, why'd you put that there?
But so then there's a very confusing line where Amy's like, why are we on the team? Like, why us? And Sonic goes, "You're my guys through thick and thin." Look at the team Sonic's on. Why would he? I could understand him saying that about Bunny, and even Amy. What do you mean Mina and Fiona are your guys? What the fuck does that?
You know what's even funnier about that is like Mina's not even on the Freedom Fighters. That was the whole point of her arc, was that she wasn't on the Freedom Fighters.
Oh my god!
And Ken's like, nah, she is now.
Why is she here? What is she doing here?
By the way, here's the real question: where are the Chaotix?
They're they fucked off.
They're planning for the next play.
Yeah. That's
But you know what's really funny though, and I'm sure like this was just like John Gray, you know, putting the detail, but they are at the meeting. like they're they're in the crowd at the meeting, but like obviously Ken didn't remember that, so he didn't put them in the story.
Vector was like, "I would love to help you, Sally, but we gotta unlike you all, we actually have to pay rent.
We have to fuck off, all right?"
So we have to go work a job. Regardless. So Sonic goes into a hole and he's talking to Rotor. And there's actually a fun bit where their communication via the radio is done through like a little like split of like with the lightning between the two antennae. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, John Gray does a good job as usual. Yeah.
And then Bunny gets kidnapped. Oh boy, does Bunny get kidnapped?
She does. And it is very detailed.
It's very... So then Sonic's running around looking for her, and he finds Snively.
Oh yeah, Snively's back.
Yeah, Snively's back. So... Ian...
Yes. What's up, my friend?
Why are the robot tentacles touching Bunny like that?
Because teenage boys like
I don't like it.
I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it either. It's really weird. Yeah, so basically, yeah, Adam's like little nanite goo, and it's basically goo. It just gets all over Bunny, and it's like, I'm gonna destroy you, and it's not pleasing to look at.
And one of them is very innocuously placed.
Yes.
Actually, no, a couple of them. Now that I'm looking at it, oh god. Anyway, Anyway, so then the art gets really bad.
Why was Ken so interested in sexually assaulting Bunny? Because this is the second time it's happened.
What was the first time?
Remember the implication with evil Sonic?
Oh fuck!
Why does he keep doing this?
Why? I don't know.
Why?
Anyway, so then they're like, so then Snively's helps them. He agrees to help them, and Sonic doesn't know what an EMP is because he's a fucking dumbass. I want you to all keep this in mind later when Sonic gets very specific about the type of needle a certain character uses, that he didn't know what a fucking EMP was.
Thanks, Ken.
And so then at some point Sonic says he's been, oh yeah, there's a line where Sonic goes, I've been saddled through all the girls. Was this with all the girls? Is this Sally's way of punishing me or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, man, why am I with these dead weights?
These broads. The Silver Ace would happily say.
Hey, you fucker. Vector said it first. Anyway.
He did. He knows really funny. I don't know why he said that. Gosh.
And then my next note simply says, this is too fucking long.
Oh yeah, they just keep talking. And they keep being really weird with Bunny. And okay, so ultimately Sonic goes up to Adam and he's like, hey, here's I don't know what an EMP is, but I'm gonna give you a logic puzzle. He gives Adam a logic puzzle where he's like, you're supposed to break down biomatter and blah blah blah, but she's organic, so what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, that's correct. And so he stops.
Yep. And then they draw Mina bent over in a vent with her cleavage showing.
Yes, they do. Oh gosh. Oh yeah, and then Bunny. This is another thing where the artists just did whatever they wanted. Bunny and Sonic make out, but like from the dialogue, it doesn't seem like it should be that way. So
yeah, it's yep, it's.
And Sonic looks stoned out of his mind.
Yep.
It's a
miracle. At some point I wrote, what the fuck is happening?
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, is there a B story for the, oh yeah, Snively's part of the Freedom Fighters now. Thank God it's over. I
mean, I appreciate that they don't trust him, but also like after this it's never brought up again and he's just hanging out with us with Tommy Turtle, so I guess we trust him. Yeah. Guess we just get brunch with Snively.
Which is funny because even in the issue, they make a point. There's actually a fun exchange where Amy's like, "I don't trust you," and he goes, "Would you feel better if I told you I have no interest in helping you, and I'm only doing this to fuck over my uncle?" She goes, and then, "Yeah,
yeah," and that's a good little exchange. Oh, here's a fun thing that you probably didn't know, and would have been bad. So in this issue, or at least sometime after this, Ken wanted to have Snively sacrifice his life and die as a hero.
Okay, here's the thing. That could work. Mm-hmm. But I doubt
think it would have worked.
Anyway.
Like, it could work, but do you think Ken would have made it work?
No. And also, I'm glad that Snively sticks around because he's fun. So
absolutely. No. So it's just another interesting scenario where Ken is constantly trying to kill characters.
So then we move on to Sonic the Hedgehog number 153, and I'm going to say it. Beyond this point, minus Sally, which we'll get to, I don't think these next few issues are that bad.
Well, I'm going to say something to you. Yeah, you're pretty right.
Okay.
Because I think Carl Bollers, because he writes these two issues, his comedy is on point. I love how fucking stupid these two issues are, with like Eggman being like, he's an ex-fan of Mina Mongoose, and he's like, her music's lost its soul. I'm gonna fucking kill her.
No, I would say these next two issues are like pretty much just like good. I'm saying the next 4 issues I think are fine.
We'll get to the wedding stuff, because the wedding stuff is very much hinged on Sally.
Yeah, so. those are 2 different things. But I was just saying, because I would say from here it picks up, but because that last issue drained my soul out of my body. But anyway, so Eggman hires Knack to kill Mina because he doesn't like her music. That's a fun scene. And then we cut to a training session in Freedom HQ.
Yes.
And there's the line that I really like where Sally goes like, we need to keep any inappropriate behavior in check. And then there's an asterisk that goes, check out Sonic the Hedgehog number 150 and 151 for all the inappropriateness. Sure. I mean, at least you're acknowledging it.
I'm glad you're paying attention to all of the recap bubbles because you keep finding some gems.
Oh, yeah. But so, anyway, then Antoine's dad, like, wait, is it Antoine's dad or the king or both? I mean, they're both sick, but I know one of them, like, hasn't. Oh, it's not here. I don't think. Anyway, they're both fucking sick is the point. Nope. His dad falls over dead. Not dead. He's just old and sick. Anyway, the point is, this will become important later.
Indeed.
Right. Write it in your handy dandy notebook.
Write it down in the instruction manual.
But so then we find out that Mina's having a concert, and we get a fun scene where Tails tries to ask Fiona to the concert, and Sonic's a bro. He steps in, keeps Tails from embarrassing himself. He's like, hey, what if we all went to the concert together?
Yeah, and this is like genuinely like that's nice of him because like clearly she was gonna reject him. So again, like I talk about in my video, like it came from a good place. All right.
Yeah.
We'll just see where it goes.
I actually think, and we'll get there when we get there. I think the seeds for the Sonic Fiona romance are actually planted pretty well here. But again, we'll get there when we get there. And so so Sonic goes, hey, Fiona, Tails has a lot of respect for you. And then Fiona just decides to like tell her life story.
Yes.
It's like
by the way, this is also very funny. So obviously like later Flynn gets like Scourge and Fiona together. And I had always thought because like he doesn't talk to Fiona in the issue where he's banging all the girls. So I always just assumed like, oh, like Flynn is just taking the fact that he must have obviously also talked to Fiona, right? But no, if you check the editor box, when she says like, oh, then because he says like, oh, he really, admires you. And she's like, you should have like thought of that earlier. And you're like, what are you talking? You're like, what is she talking about? If you read the little editor's box, this is where all of Fiona and Scourge is based off of, which is that in an editor's box, because the story couldn't have been bothered to show it. They say, oh yeah, Scourge also like made out with Fiona.
Oh yeah, that's right. He didn't. You're right. Evil Sonic. No, he hit on her.
No,
he didn't do in that issue. I swear he hits on her.
He hits on Mina. He hits on Amy, and he hits on Rouge, but Fiona's not in that issue.
No, I swear at the beginning of the issue when he beats up the robot, he hits on Fiona. Like there's like one panel.
Incorrect, but I will double check for your sake.
Please do.
For your sanity's sake.
I was just gonna say but anyway, what Fiona says here after Sonic says that, it's like that's not in response to what he said at all. Like just like it feels like you're just looking for excuses to tell your origin story, Fiona.
It's true. I mean, have you read Knuckles issue 32? I think not. So she's explaining.
28. Thank you very much, Ian.
Oh, sorry, I'm a fake fan.
You're a fake fan.
No, the first person she talks to is Mina and Amy. Fiona's not in this scene.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
So it's very funny that it's if you only know this if you look at a text editor's note.
That's amazing.
And this is, by the way, this isn't the only one. There's going to be one later that I'm going to fucking go into. It's incredible.
Okay. But so my next note just says this is stupid, and I'm not sure what it's referring to. Well, I guess we'll see. So we get to the concert, and Sonic,
is it like Ash because he's stupid?
Ash is stupid. He also calls Mina kid, which is probably not something you want to call your significant other. Just an idea. I don't know, but regardless, yeah. So Sonic and Co. go and meet Mina backstage. They talk to Ash. Ash and Sonic have a little dick measuring contest, which will be recurring throughout this. And then Mina sings one of her terrible fucking songs.
Yes.
And the lyrics are all nonsense, right? Like,
I mean, she's just saying, I love Sonic, he's so cool, he is blue, and I love you. That's the song.
Yeah. Well, no, because we'll get there. But anyway, then Knack tries to fucking shoot her. Although, wait a minute. Knack's a fucking moron. So either.
Yeah.
Either.
It's really dumb.
So there's two things that could have happened here. Either he was like, I'm gonna shoot this tree to show how badass and cool
And
I
it's
am
gonna
before I kill Mina.
fall on her, maybe?
Yeah. Or he fucking missed.
I think he just missed.
Dude, this guy truly is the Boba Fett of the Sonic
he's
world.
so bad, man.
All hype. But anyway, then Bunny kicks the tree, and then they beat up. Wow, he is down in like one page. Holy shit! Nash shoots the tree and then immediately tries to just run away.
I love what Sonic says, where he goes, "Hey, that guy's doing a horrible impression of me."
Dude, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, these two issues are ludicrous. Like, the whole premise is ludicrous of like why Eggman's even doing this, which I'm fine with. I think it's pretty funny. The main thing I'm annoyed by is just like Ash being obnoxious, but whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't know Ash. I don't care about him. So like him just being like, "Oh, Mina, you love Superman?" And she's like, "Yeah, duh, everyone loves Superman." And he's like, "Bro, I don't like Superman. He broke your heart."
Yeah. I don't think Ash is terrible in this. But I do agree that like for the amount that we're supposed to care about him, they do not give us enough to chew on.
Well, and that we spend on him.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. He is no way a Jeffrey, like in terms of like stealing the spotlight and like being an asshole and like causing problems. It's just after all the other romance drama we've been doing, I don't care.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But so then they're Fang's in prison, and they're like, if you don't tell us what we want to know, we're gonna sick your old your old crew on you, and they're gonna fucking murder you.
Yes.
And so then he's just like, oh, it was Eggman. Which also, it's like, okay, you could have guessed that, right? Like, first of all, who else would it have been? And second of all, what do you really gain from knowing it was Eggman? Like,
I was gonna say, it's like, I mean, do we need any more reasons not to go after Egg? I mean, I guess like, and it's like, oh, look for robots attacking. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, like you said, it doesn't really give them much of an advantage.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's funny from a story perspective because he's like, guys, I know this is gonna sound like the most fucking dumb thing you've ever heard, but I swear this is what he said. And then he talks about how like Eggman can't even sleep at night because like her music's like playing in his head, and like he like bans it from all the countries that he's like taken over, and they burn it in the streets like it's Harry Potter.
Yeah. And then there's a really fun exchange between Ash and Sonic where Sally's like, okay, Sonic, you're gonna be Mina's bodyguard, and Ash goes, what can he do that our regular bodyguards can't? And Sonic goes, keep her breathing.
Yeah, I like Bowler's version of Sonic. He's funny.
Yeah, he's fun. And then Robotnik's like, all right, well, Fang fucked up, so I guess we're gonna send out Heavy and Bomb.
Yes.
Aren't they good guys?
Not in Archie. When they were introduced, they were like, "Hi, we're Heavy and Bomb. We were made by Eggman, but we're good now." So he just made them again, but they're bad now.
Okay. As I'd say, because I remember them being on like Jeffrey's team, but
yes, they were. But again, they were like, "We were bad, but we're good now." So now he's made versions that are bad now. The end.
And then Rosie tells a stupid fucking story that I don't care about.
I don't care. Again, this is where like, think about like all the stuff we've read. We've really reached the point where like these B stories are like, it's like, guys, what are we doing? You know, like, because it doesn't feel like oh, we're spending time with the world and the characters. It really does just feel like, well, the main stories aren't progressing anything. Like, it's just doing romance nonsense, and the B stories aren't doing anything. So like, what are we doing, guys? And the answers, we're doing nothing.
You're doing nothing. But yeah, she tells a story to some sick kids about like it's Sonic's a knight and Sally's a pirate, and they all live happily ever after. And there's a thinly veiled shot at the comics critics because the kids are all asking questions about like character motivations. Anyway, moving on. Sonic the Hedgehog number 154. We didn't mention this story is called Song Goose.
Yes, she's a song goose.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it.
And so basically, Sonic's like, okay, well, Mina, you're not leaving my sight until we know that you're safe. And then Mina's like, but could you leave? And he's like, oh, all right. Um, and so they argue, and Ash is like, all your song lyrics are about Sonic. This is bullshit.
Yes.
And so then they break up, and he leaves. And then
Sonic's like, rebound. And
yes, we'll get to that. But then there's a scene that truly, I'm not sure how to feel about it from one big reason. So Sonic's standing outside, and Sally calls, and he's like, oh yeah, Sonic's like, oh yeah, Mina's in her dressing room. Everyone else is looking out. And Sally goes, what, you let her out of your sight? And at first I'm like, well, yeah, she's in her dressing room. But then I looked at how Sally was dressed. And so I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
What are the social conventions here? I was like, because normally, if this were a normal comic, yeah, of course the bodyguard would stand outside the dressing room. I don't know. This is stupid. Also, what's stupid is that Sonic refers to everyone very formally.
Oh, yeah, he's very formal.
Because he goes, the rest of the Freedom Fighters are in position, Princess Sally. Bunny Rabbit and Fiona Fox are watching the crowd for any suspicious types.
I hope the kids who are picking this comic up for the first time will look into what those characters are.
Yeah. Amy Rose is that front row center stage. Like, what is it? Like,
that's Amy Rose Hedgehog.
Yeah. But anyway, so Sally yells at him. And then we get an interesting scene where Sonic goes into her dressing room and he sees Mina crying. He's like, oh man, I know exactly how you feel. And it's like, oh man, this is interesting. We have two characters who are struggling because they are unable to communicate their feelings to the person they love. Maybe these two characters could like have a discussion about this and we could get some deeper insights into their psyche. Nope! Move on!
Yep.
If Mina sings another terrible song and we realize, oh wait, she wasn't singing about Sonic. She was singing about how she was over Sonic. Aren't you silly, Ash?
Indeed.
But so then Heavy and Bomb and like a bunch of bombs show up to the concert. And there's a scene where
I do like Sonic's line of if I'm not careful, Uncle Chuck's favorite nephew is gonna die or something, whatever he says.
That's fun. There's also a point where Robotnik goes like, according to GPS, the robots are almost there, and it has a little asterisk that goes global positioning system. I know what GPS means.
Do you know who Amy Rose Hedgehog is, or Fiona Fox, or I don't know? I think they expect you to be a dumb child.
I guess. But so, what dumb child would care about? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I know.
It doesn't matter. Sonic says, "Wow, Mina's dynamite." Was that meant to be a pun on the bombs that? No, I don't.
That's an amazing idea of true.
Anyway, so then again, Sonic and Ash have another dick measuring contest.
For life. Sorry.
What?
Nothing. Just keep talking.
They fight the robots. They win. And at some point I wrote, "I'm sorry, what?" I don't know what that was in reference to. I should really be more specific with these notes. Whatever. Sonic drowns himself. My next note is Robotnik makes shitty bombs. So what happens is,
you're right.
So Sonic is like, he gives Mina a hug, and Mina's like, okay, let's go out on a date. And Sonic's like, all right. And so Ash follows Mina into her dressing room, and he's trying to like reconcile with her. And then we find out there was just a bomb in her dressing room. And so not only does this bomb have enough of a delay that Ash is able to pick it up and run it away from the dressing room, it detonates, presumably, right in his arms. There's no indication he was able to like throw it. That's all you can assume. Or again, you could assume Eggman makes shitty bombs, because what it looks like happens is he was holding it right up to his body. It blew the fuck up, and he's just fine.
You're right.
But regardless, so he's in the infirmary, and then we get something really interesting. So Mina goes and she's like, "Oh man, Ash, like I don't love Sonic, I love you, and like I'm sorry." And he wakes up and they kiss and it's cute. And then we see Sonic like looking over them, and he looks sad. And I think this is interesting. And there's no way this was intentional, mostly because these issues are written by different people.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting, and I think it's consistent within the internal logic of the book. That so Sonic, he's having all this trouble with Sally in this issue. Like he gets chewed up by Sally. Like he's really struggling with that. And then Mina comes along, and he's like, "Oh hey, I like Mina. Mina's cool. Mina likes me. I like her. And like her boyfriend's a dickhead, so I don't have to feel guilty about breaking that up. All right, we can make something happen here." And then immediately that rug is also pulled out from under him.
And so then he goes to
Fiona. And so then when Fiona shows up and is like, "Oh, hey, you want to do something?" He's like, "Fucking sure. Why not?" Like,
yeah. Want to make out in the forest? Yeah. You tell me that yesterday.
Yeah. Like again, I don't know if that was intentional.
I mean, it's what Flynn builds on anyway, which I really like. Because he really does lean into the idea of like Sonic doesn't like Fiona, like in a romantic sense. He's just like, and we literally, it's not in the story, but like literally the story after the ones we're reading, it starts with Sonic in his room being like, "Princess Sally, I love you." And literally his mom is like, "I know he's like dating Fiona and who knows who else, but I could tell he really just wants to be with Sally."
Yeah.
So like, it's very clear that, Sonic, like he's just doing this to like fill a void in his heart. Which is interesting, and I really like how Flynn will play with that later. But it's cool that it was still consistent back here.
Yeah, but so then we get a stupid backup story that we have to talk about because it's going to be really important later. So they have some of the nanites from last issue, 2 issues ago, and Tommy Turtle's like, they think these nanites are. Oh my god, I forgot. So the beginning of this, they have a whole thing about like Robotnik can't build life. These are robots. There's no robots.
They don't feel nothing.
Life are 2 different things. And it's like, fucking what? What are you talking about? Yeah, of course. What are you saying? Like, it's just like fake philosophizing. It's like you're saying nothing. But
yeah, regardless.
And then the nanites wake up and they go into Tommy.
And he goes, "Yeah, baby!"
Yeah. And then Tommy grows wings, and then he grows a jetpack, and so now Tommy has superpowers, because that's what you all wanted, right?
Yes.
Sonic the Hedgehog number 155, Alone.
All right, now we got to talk about it. It's time.
So, again, I don't think these issues are that bad. Outside of Sally. But again, we can, because, we'll talk about it now. Because the problem is, Sally's not a character in this. She's a MacGuffin. She's something for Sonic to be sad about and for the villain to want. Like, you could have replaced her with a box of magic cookies, and the story remains the exact same.
Well, and the big thing to me, right, is the idea of Sally's already... So we've had her break up with Sonic, right? Mm-hmm. Then we had her in the Dear Ally story, where she's like, "You know what? I love Sonic, but I love my people more. I really need to, like, help them." It's like, okay, is that the direction we're going to go? But then they have it be like, actually, no, she's really still pining for Sonic. It's like, okay, are you going to do anything about that? No.
No.
So, and it's like, here's the thing. And you also have Stargazing, where she's like, "Oh, my life is miserable and I've never been happy in my entire life." So you have all that stuff. And it's like, here's the thing. All that makes sense. Like, I get why she feels this way. I get why she feels this way in this. It's her dad. She feels like she owes him. She obviously, like, of course she wouldn't just be able to just throw away Sonic and get over him. But that's not the point. Like, realism isn't the problem here. The problem is that, okay, is that what you're going to do with Sally now? Because I don't believe you anymore. And also, when they do these types of things, they don't do it in a way that makes Sally, like, likable for it. And I don't even mean in a way of like, oh, she can't like make mistakes. It's again, no, like, what is her character? Why is she acting this way? Well, it's because at this point, like you said, she's just a plot device to make everyone's lives and herself harder. So Sally is going to, like, again, complain and be like, "Oh, but I wanted to be with Sonic." It's like, okay, well, if you want to be with Sonic, why didn't the writers like get to that at any point and just like fucking do it? Like,
Yeah.
And so like a lot of, I think, the hatred people have towards Sally, and like, you wouldn't think this would be a distinction, because obviously all the writing, like when you say like I like a character, what you're saying is you like the writing of the character. But there is a distinction, I think, where at a certain point you realize like the writer is letting the concept of the character down, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like,
Sally should be a person. We should be delving into these things, and we just never do. And since we're already addressing it, obviously, so like Sally is gonna marry evil Antoine or whatever, and instead of her doing anything, she just goes like, "Wow, my life fucking sucks. Like, I think she even says, like, I think I'm gonna like be sick and throw up. Like, he's just feeling awful. And then like Sonic comes to the wedding and she's like, sorry, Sonic, you know, my husband says you're arrested, so I just gotta let it happen. And it's like, Sally, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then the way it ends is that she, without going into details of that, because we'll do that when we go in the recap, but like she gets saved from this, right? And then it's like, wow, Sally, now you can be together with Sonic. It's like, what? What are we talking about? They haven't interacted.
Nope. Yeah, and that's the real problem. Is again, like Sally, like we don't know, like how does Sally, like if you could have done a very similar story, but then have Sally go like, it's for my people, I have to do this. Like you could have had Sally be an active participant and done basically the exact same plot. They just don't like.
Yeah, no, she is a prop.
Yeah,
she's just there to make the worst decisions, feel sad about it, and then we just move on. And by the way, I'll tell you this: I don't know if you know this. This is that part where she says, "Oh, Sonic, you're under arrest. Get out." That is the last time they ever interact for the rest of the pre-Flynn era.
That doesn't surprise me.
So like that just happens, and we move on. Whatever.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense why people hate Sally, because she's just not a character. She's just being horrible to people, and I get why she's being horrible. I get why she's doing these things, and again, it's not malicious. Like that is very clear. It's never malicious. But I'm sorry, I don't want to watch Sally wallow and be miserable and be treated shittily by literally everything, and then through that shittiness treat other people shittily, because you're not doing anything with it. You're not telling a story about how harmed people harm people or any of that stuff. You're not doing any of that. It's very clear what you're doing. You're trying to waste my time. You're trying to spark melodrama for teenagers, and it's fucking stupid. And to me, that's why the first scene is also bad. But if you have anything else to say about Sally, we can.
Well, just like, I think you run into the problem where it's like, you can only have, because the problem is, you could have, I can't believe I'm about to make this comparison. So I've been watching through Friends recently.
Okay.
And there's, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's Ross and Rachel in that. And the show is very heavily like, oh, are Ross and Rachel going to get together? Are they not going to get together? And the show does a very bad job of justifying why they shouldn't just be together. And there's a lot of similarities here. Because if you want to have the two of them be conflicted, and Flynn does this very well, of having Sally go like, do I want to be with Sonic? Like, you know, who am I? Like, what do I want? And having Sonic kind of, you know, go about and doing his own thing. The problem is, if all Sonic thinks about is how much he wants to be with Sally, and all Sally thinks about is how much she wants to be with Sonic, then I, as a reader, can't help but go, why are you not just together then? Why? Yeah. Like,
and the reason they're not together isn't because of a self-hatred of Sally or her inability to be vulnerable, because like you could make those arguments. I'm sure those are the reasons that are driving a lot of what she's done, but that's not in the story.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm writing that for you, you know?
Yeah.
And even if it is subtext, you don't do anything with it. So, you know, so like it doesn't matter, you know? And you know, that's the same thing with a ton of characters. It's the same thing with like Bunny and how they've just kind of reduced her to just being a miserable sorry sap. When it's like Bunny has like charm and personality, and like she has like a really sweet side, but now it's like, oh, Antoine, I just want to be with Antoine. Meanwhile, who's Antoine? Antoine hasn't even been in the fucking book because he's evil Antoine. Oh, wasn't that a great twist?
Yeah.
Terrible.
But anyway, let's get into the recap. So we find out that the reason King Acorn is dying is because of his poor drinking habits.
Whoa. You skipped the or is that the first page?
That's the first page.
Okay, cool. Okay,
so
talk about
it. King Acorn just decides like, you know what I need before bed every night? Some alcohol. So Antoine's just been spiking that. And so he's been poisoning him, and that's why. And here's the problem, right? Is that they treat this like it's a twist. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to be reading this and going, why is Antoine thinking these things? What's happening? What is he? But because they don't explicitly say until later, like, oh man, this is evil Antoine. The problem is,
you're supposed to seemingly be like, what's going on?
But they blew the lid on it back in number 150.
And they did it so casually.
They did so casually.
Maybe that's what they're hoping. They're hoping like you wouldn't have caught it back then somehow.
But anyway, so then we cut to Tails is meeting up with Sonic in the woods. But wait, Sonic's making out with Fiona. But Tails is in love with Fiona. Oh no!
I do like that he gets like punched in the face by the editor box. That's pretty funny.
That's pretty great, actually. Yeah.
But okay, here we go.
So, yeah, basically Tails is like, Sonic, why are you making out with her? And at first Fiona's like, what's wrong with me? And he's like, well, because I like you. And she's like, oh, you're like 9.
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
And here's the thing. I don't think this scene is done all that poorly.
The scene itself, no. The context it's in, yes.
What do you mean by that?
Because the context is more romance drama.
Oh, well, yes.
Hooray. I love fighting that goes nowhere. Let's fucking go. And here's the big thing. So here's the real kicker, right? So Tails, very upset. He says, I hate you to Sonic. And Fiona and Sonic goes to try to comfort him. And Fiona goes, don't, Sonic. There is literally nothing you could ever say to him that would help him through the scenario. And presumably, Sonic went, okay. Because we literally never see him talk to him. And the final shot of this arc is clearly supposed to be a parallel, is that Sonic and Fiona are like hanging out and holding hands and be like, yeah, we're going to date girl. And then what do we see? A crying Tails. So clearly, Sonic just, he didn't go and talk to Tails.
I mean, yeah.
So that's the shitty thing, right? It's like,
yeah,
are they characters anymore? Hello? But no, of course not, because that's going to be the drama, guys. That's what Ken Penders is going to set up so that we can have more drama. I love romance drama.
Well, here's the thing. I do love romance drama. So
but you don't love this. Don't lie to me.
I don't love this, but I think this in and of itself as a scene, given the characters and how they've been set up, I think works.
It certainly makes sense. But as we've established, making sense does not mean making good.
I wouldn't even say it just makes sense. I think it's done genuinely well. I think I don't know. I kind of
What do you like about it? Because I mean, it doesn't go anywhere. It's a lie.
It doesn't go anywhere. That's the thing. That's the problem. That's the problem. Is that the scene itself's done well, and I think the and I mean, look, we'll be able to talk plenty about the Tails, Sonic, Fiona love triangle. Love triangle's too generous to Tails, but you know what I mean. As this progresses, I don't know. I think also what you have to keep in mind is that I think it's interesting because you said like Tails is furious. He says, "I hate you" to Sonic, and that is a child's response. That is a child who, and I think also what's interesting is like Tails. His first memories with Fiona are dating her, being in love with her, having that love reciprocated, and then ripped away from him.
Oh yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. So why doesn't Sonic go to comfort him?
Well, no, yeah, then that's the shitty part.
Well, again, and that's why Flynn's great, because he leans into that. But yeah, no, super. I mean, yeah, again, I agree with all the points you're saying. I'm just saying that in the course of all the stuff you've been reading, why would I go, oh, wow, but this love romance triangle bullshit, this will be the good one. Oh, I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited. By the way, so here's a fun fact. That scene where Tails says, I hate you to Sonic is the last time they speak before the Flynn era. Whoa, I love Ken Pender's writing. It's so good.
That's amazing. Also, I forgot to mention, but when the king is poisoned, he briefly adopts Antoine's accent. Did you notice that?
I did not, but if that's true, that's amazing.
Considering Robotnik had little interest in this section of Mobius. That's what he says.
Dude, that would be so funny if the fucking, Ken, he just forgot who it was.
Oh, there are many instances of this where speech bubbles are just
Wait. So do you think that when Carl Bullers established that, his dad was being poisoned, and he also established, the king was being poisoned, Ken, flipped through the pages and was like, oh, Antoine's dad, the king, is being poisoned. So
no. No. I think he just fucked up. Although there are many instances in this where speech bubbles are just pointing at the wrong character.
Oh yeah, and that continues into Flynn's early era too for some reason.
Yeah, but so then we cut to they're bringing the king home. Antoine is driving the space plane, and then my next note literally says, "Well, this would be really intriguing if they didn't already blow the patch twist."
Yeah.
But so basically, they're like, the king's sick, so Sally, you have to become queen, and because of how the system works, you have to marry someone. And I mean, Antoine's standing right there, so it might as well be him. I will say the making it makes sense for it to be Antoine. Especially...
Well, this is so fun fact, and I think they referenced this. This was set up back in the double digits.
Oh yeah, I think in
because King Max said, he's like, by the way, you're gonna marry Antoine, and then that they just dropped it for 100 issues.
I think right before Endgame. Maybe I think that might have been fake.
No, it was post Endgame, but yeah.
Regardless, I think was that doesn't matter. Oh yeah, was that when he was racist Crystal Max?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, no. It was supposed to that. Yeah, I remember because he shows her the goo and he says, "Get in the goo, Sally," and she says, "No." So yeah.
I think you mean the source. Thank you very much. But yeah, and so basically, the king is like, "Thank God you broke up with that fucking idiot Sonic."
Fucking peasant.
Yeah. And Sally does what she does best in this arc, cries.
Indeed.
Runs away. And so then we cut to Sonic, and Ian, what does Sonic ask Bunny when she shows up?
What every boy seems to be asking Bunny in these stupid fucking stories. Hey, Bunny, why the sour puss? Why does Ken keep doing this? It's a pattern.
It's a pattern. But so Bunny's sad because Antoine's gonna marry Sally, and then Sonic's sad because Antoine's gonna marry Sally.
Yeah, and he wants Antoine, so it's really
he wants Antoine. Dude. But so anyway, then Sonic runs off to confront Sally, and he does his Sonic 06 pose for a second, or maybe that's more like his Sonic Adventure pose. It's the one right before Antoine points his sword at him. Regardless,
Patch kicks his ass, and it's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool, but it's also weird.
I don't think so. One of the things that actually makes Sonic a good character in the comics is that when they're telling real stories and not like jokey stories where he has like light speed, is that they do what you're supposed to do with speedsters, which is they don't have freeze like bullet time. So like if like Sonic's standing next to me and I just go to punch him and he wasn't expecting it, like he's not going to be like, I sense a punch, bullet time, dodge, make a sundae, fix your bow and tie, tie your shoes together. Okay, get back into place, punch. Like that's bad. You don't want that in your like stories if you have like speedsters because they break the plot. So I really like that Sonic is just there and he's like, Antoine, get the fuck out of the way. And then Antoine just attacks him. He's like, oh shit, and he tries to dodge, and then Antoine gets him. Because that makes sense. That's how it works. That's how
I think it's more that where it's like it's Antoine, like.
Well, it's evil Antoine. That's why it's cool. That's why Patch almost becomes like a good villain because it's like, holy shit, this guy's actually playing for keeps, and then he does like the stupidest mistake ever. Yeah, but we'll get to it.
Well, I more so meant like that's what Sonic's thinking. That's the reason why Sonic's able to be dispatched is because he's like, it's Antoine. I don't need to go. I don't need to take this seriously. Then he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and it's drawn well too.
It is. But so then Antoine goes and talks to Sally. And she's like, "Yep, I'm still sad."
Yeah.
And then Dr. Quack is like, "Man, the king is about to die." So that's
now I'm gonna be less sad.
Yeah. So she's like, "Well, I guess I have to marry." Sally makes a decision, kind of, and is like, "I guess I'll go marry Antoine." And so then Sonic is running off to go and try and. Okay. It's fucking stupid. They couldn't even do a proper stop the wedding plot because Sonic's like, I guess he slept in that morning, so he's like, oh well,
like I'll ask someone else to do it.
No, he's not even like I'll go ask someone else to do it while the wedding is already happening.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But, so then Sonic's mom is like, don't do that, and then fucking when he runs off. She goes, "Hey, Jules," but she doesn't go, "Hey, Jules," like you would say to a person you're married to. She goes, "Father."
I mean, okay, to be fair, I think that's also like Ken's old thing getting in, where like, like when you're like a grandparent, they'll just say, "Granddad, get in here," or like, "Grandma, get in here." Like they don't call each other by their name anymore because it's just become like so ingrained of like your dad, your mom. I've seen that before, so I wonder if that's what he's going for. It's very like I don't know why they would do it, but I think that might be what he's going for. It's like, hey, it's Ma and Pa and Baby Bear.
I guess there's also something just kind of charming about like Sonic's robot dad just like sitting with
I
his feet
fucking
kicked
love
up,
Jules.
reading
Jules
the
is
paper.
great.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jules
he's
is
awesome.
great. I'm talking solely about this image of him reading the paper. Just something about like the absurdity of it is charming.
He can't sleep, so he's got to do something else with his time.
Oh my god, you're right. I've never thought about that, but like that story where Scourge breaks
he's got
in,
nothing else to do.
he just sit in the living room all night until
his life
family
is a living hell, dude. He's a badass. I love Jules. He never complains.
The poor guy.
And it'll be in the next time we do a discussion, but I'll bring it up now. There's like a little scene where they're at a table and Bernie's trying to make like pancakes and she accidentally makes some for Jules. And she starts like crying because she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that." And he's like, "No. What do you mean? They might not agree with my servos, but they still taste good." I'm like, badass. I love that guy.
Oh yeah, dude, Jules, top tier. Should we do it? Wait, should we do a Archie Sonic characters tier list?
Archie Sonic character dad list. Jules number one.
Well, Jules, of course. I mean, what's his competition? I guess Antoine's dad's pretty
Locke
cool.
F tier. King Acorn F tier. Antoine's dad, he's A tier. He's good.
He's good. And then Jules S tier. But yeah, anyway. So Sonic's running off, and he's evaluating his option. He's like, I could just break in, kidnap Sally, and deal with it later.
I'll explain it later, which I like. I like that as a plan.
Yeah, that's. I think this is pretty good. Like this scene of him running off, and he's like, or I could go talk to someone who could like fix it. Yeah. Unfortunately, he's doing this again as the wedding is already happening. Oh my god! I only just realized in the background. First of all, there's like a lot of characters here who do absolutely nothing. Like Knuckles and Julie Sue are here, and like Amy's here, but like in the background you see Mina comforting Bunny, who's just bawling her eyes out.
That's all she does.
That poor fucking girl.
What did Bunny do to Ken Penders that he treats her so bad?
Maybe he's King Max. Maybe he's robot racist.
Maybe he's Locke.
He's Locke. My last note for this is just but it's not. There's a Dulcie story. It fucking sucks. Anyway,
you want to talk about it real quick because I have one point to bring, which is a funny thing.
But by all means.
Okay, so this is like the perfect example of nobody paying attention. So, obviously the whole thing is Dulcie goes home, blah 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 blah, and then oh no, all her people have been roboticized, right? All right. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem. As you know, the BEM came to Mobius and turned everyone back to normal besides Jules and Bunny. And then as we find out later in a bunch of these stories that have already happened, Robotnik has said, like, I can't roboticize anyone anymore. Like it can't do it. Meanwhile, we have roboticized dragons who, by the way, have the power to just shoot you and roboticize you. How does that work? That doesn't make any sense. Well, you know what? Some kid must have mailed them and said, hey, that doesn't make any sense because no way the adults writing this figured it out. So what they do, this is an amazing thing. At the start of issue 156, there is a fucking lie. Sonic looks you dead in the eye and he fucking lies to you. And he says, hey, gang, as you know, last issue, we established that these roboticized dragons were actually hidden under Mobius, and a magical barrier prevented them from being de-roboticized, which is why they're here. Cool, huh? Anyway, back to the story.
Well, I didn't read that. Yeah, they didn't. That just straight up didn't happen. They just straight up didn't say that.
That's just a lie. They didn't do that. So yeah, someone obviously called to figure this out, and they were like, shit.
Anyway,
that's all that matters. And then also because Mike Gallagher's a weirdo, he makes a joke about domestic abuse because that's what this comic's about now.
Yeah. Anyway, this was oddly nostalgic.
What is wrong with this comic?
Yeah, this was an oddly nostalgic experience for me because you may all remember in the Prelude to Dark Gaia episode when I lost my mind on air when Ian sent me that panel of Dulcie going like, "Oh no, I'm sorry, it was all my fault." Again, that is like, whoa, that is like the most genuinely shocked I've been at anything we've done on this show, and it wasn't even the book we were talking about that episode.
Yeah, I think the closest would be Pregnant Tales.
Yeah, that was Pregnant Tales was like that was
that was an eye-opening experience.
That broke my brain. That anyway.
I also like, by the way, because we love torturing women in this comic. Dulcie's mom is one of the roboticized people, and the way they defeat them is not to de-roboticize them. They murder them. And she's like, my mom's dead. And then her leader, who, by the way, chained her to a wall and kicked her out of her home because she, like, talked to people, is like, but don't worry. Like, they're ghosts now. And so, like, ghosts of her dead mom appear in the smoke. And she's like, that's great. And then they go, hey, Dulcie, I know we literally, like, abused you and ostracized you, but, like, you really helped us out. And I think you have earned the right for your freedom and to be an ambassador. And she's like, whoa, I love being an a victim of the system. Let's fucking go. And that's the end. We never do anything with Dulcie ever again.
Yeah.
So,
yep. Nope. So, anyway, that's that plot. So moving on.
Now we get to talk about a cool character. Let's go.
Yeah, our last issue, Sonic Hedgehog number 156. Now, I love this cover for a couple reasons.
Taxidermy Sally, baby.
Yeah, first of all, it looks terrible. Second of all, it has nothing to do with what's actually happening in the comic.
It's so bad.
Anyway, so
who did the cover? Are they going to say that? Oh my gosh. Did they not say? It says writer, artist, inker, letterer, colorist, but there's no cover. What?
I mean, their signature is on here. It looks like it's someone named Sanford.
Maybe, I guess.
Whoever that is. But
who is that?
There it goes.
That's amazing.
But, anyway. Yeah, so then they're married, and Antoine kisses her on the cheek. But anyway, and so then we cut to Sonic, who's trying to convince someone to come and help Sally. But that person is like, nope. And so Sonic runs off, and he realizes that again
he missed the wedding.
He missed the wedding. And so my first note literally says, you're a little fucking late, Sonic. But so he goes and he's like, this is stupid. Sonic is me in this moment where he goes, this is all wrong. She should be with me. But so he goes, he fights some of the royal guards, and then Antoine's like, put him in prison. And so he just gets thrown in prison.
And Sonic's like, Sally, don't let them do this. Not after all we've been through. I'm sorry, Sonic, but I must be supportive of my husband. Guards, take him away. What?
Also, I love how Sally's drinking a root beer float with 2 straws. That's just
she
fun.
Stole Antoine's.
Yeah. Anyway, but then we see a mysterious cloaked figure riding towards the wedding with a ring that I think has an acorn on it.
Indeed.
And so it's Elias. It's
Elias Disney. He's here.
Yeah. And Elias, as always, pretty cool guy. So he goes and he's like, get Sonic out of prison. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Antoine's like, excuse me from my own wedding for a moment. I have to go kill the king.
He's like, that's awesome. Can I watch? And then he goes, wait a second, you're trying to kill the king. Well, that doesn't happen, but
No. But also, you gotta love how there's actually a bit earlier in this that's pretty funny, where Dr. Quack gives Antoine the medicine that the king needs to like get better, and Antoine says something effective like, could this get any easier? This is just fun. But yeah, so he's like, God damn it.
Yeah, like I said, Patch had the capacity to be like kind of a cool villain, even if like the premise is stupid. But then he like fucks it up at the end.
Yeah, but so then Antoine's like, gotta put my killing needle away. But so anyway, then Elias goes and he's like, hey, I'll be king. Why not? And so they're all like, yeah, Elias. And then
but real quick, because Elias is based, he's like the coolest guy ever. So whole premise of this is that Sonic's like, you should be king, and he's like, I don't know, Sally deserves to be queen. Like, she's cool, and I like that would be really insensitive if I did that. And then his wife is like, yeah, but like if Antoine becomes king, I don't know who the fuck that is. And so he's like, fine, I guess I'll do it, even though I don't wanna. And then based Elias. He comes over to Sally, and she's like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And he goes, "I abandoned the crown because of love, and now it's because of love. I must accept it because he loves his sister, and he knows that she doesn't want to be king or queen." And then at the very end of the story, he's like, "By the way, your wedding never fucking happened. Now you can go date your filthy peasant boy." And I'm like, Elias is so cool. I love him. He's great.
Elias is great. But yeah, so and then I love so Patch just didn't plan for this. Like he didn't, like he knew there was another guy just like sitting out in the forest somewhere who could just at any point just come in and be like, "Actually, I'm king now," and just had no plan, had no contingencies in place for this. Like,
well, it's less. Here's the thing that makes Patch dumb, and why, like, again, it's like characters can be dumb, but I wanted Patch to be cool. Damn it! What happens is that he just decides, like, okay, instead of stabbing the king in front of everyone, I'm gonna stab the new king in front of everyone. That'll fix it and make me king. Hello?
yeah, he's like.
Like, does he not expect when he stabs Elias, he's gonna go, "Ah, shit, what the fuck? Why do you have a needle in your thing?"
Yeah, but so also hadn't he been administering these doses to the king like over several months? Like, how is this one probably wouldn't have even killed the? Who cares?
He's a fucking idiot.
So then, Sonic is like, "Hey, he's got a needle in his sleeve," and like tackles him, and then
he's got a wire. Get down.
But so Sonic tackles him, and then Sonic immediately goes, "I know you're evil Antoine," which on the one hand, it's like, would you immediately jump to that? But on the other hand, in a world where
I think
know,
he also knows evil Sonic was around, so
yeah.
So that makes sense.
Also, if you know that there's just a group of people who look exactly like your friends, but they're all assholes, I feel like anytime like one of you starts acting like a little unlike yourself, that would be like probably a good conclusion to jump to.
I don't know. That sounds pretty paranoid, sir.
I don't know. I feel like with how Antoine's been acting, they should have come to this conclusion sooner.
Oh, that's fair. In terms of like, it's like consistently he's been acting like this.
Yeah. No, I don't mean like your friend didn't get enough sleep the previous night and you go like, are you Alicia?
Are you evil?
No. But anyway, so they punch him out and they switch places, but there's no pomp or circumstance to it. They just show up and they grab Antoine out of the evil dimension and they drop Patch there. And they just, again, they have been building up to this for the entirety of the time since Sonic got back from space.
He goes, here you go, Antoine's back at the end.
Yeah, it's like, fuck, what? But so, anyway, then like you said, Elias annuls their marriage. And Sonic bombs in on Bunny. And she's drinking carrot juice. I really wanted her to be drinking oil.
And then he goes, "Hey, babe, got a minute for a friend?"
Yeah, he sure does say that. And then with
by the way, I do like the scene where he gets Antoine back because where Antoine's like, "Is this a dream? We can really go home." And he goes, "With this spiffy zone linker, we certainly can. I certainly hope so." And he goes, "Besides, it's about time the good guys had a happy ending for a change." Which that's like if the story was good, that would be like a cute little things have been really shit for you guys. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. But so then he drops Antoine off at Bunny's, and so I guess someone must have explained to her like, "Oh yeah, no, it was Patch," and because he doesn't say they just doesn't matter. It's a cute scene. It's a cute scene. We can just acknowledge it's a cute scene.
Also, from the art, you can tell that Bunny must have like swung him around, which is kind of cute.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah.
And then we end the story with what else but Sally being sad because Sonic and Fiona walk off into the sunset.
And who else is sad?
Tails is also sad.
Yep, the end.
Yep. So look.
You said you thought these were not terrible. Right?
I don't think they're terrible. I think Sally is terrible in them, and I think the rest of it is fine.
Do you think it's fine? I feel like you had quite a few criticisms.
I did have quite a few criticisms. Fuck, man.
It is bad.
It's pretty bad, but look, it's not. Here's the thing: it's not nearly as painful as the missile silo stuff. It's not nearly as painful.
Oh, you've come around on that being really terrible.
Did I thought that was terrible from the jump.
I can't remember. I thought you had a little more good faith, but I'm glad you agree.
No, it's not nearly as terrible as that. It's not nearly as terrible as Evil Sonic banging girls for 2 issues. Like, it's comparatively if we're grading on a curve, it's fine.
If we're grading on my life salary, trying to make it. Oh boy.
Anyway,
well, that was that.
It's so next time when we return,
Sonic Adventures.
Shadow's back. That'll be fun, right?
Back. Yeah, I guess we'll see.
And he
said, so our plan is we're gonna review, because that's just 3 issues. So that's the end of the pre-Flynn era. So we're gonna read those 3 issues, and then we're gonna do a general discussion, right?
Yeah, I think the general discussion can just be like a part of that. I think we can just, depending on how long that is. But yeah, I think, so come back next time for that. And then after that, I do wonder how we're going to do the Start of the Flynn stuff, because the Scourge 2-parter obviously isn't enough to fill an episode. But I feel like if we do that
plus Darkest Storm, right?
Well, I feel like that will be, we'll figure it out. Maybe we can do like an extra long episode for that one.
Yeah.
Regardless, thank you everyone for listening. If you like the show, please leave a like. Please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. We love reading your comments. That's why we have a segment devoted to it. Subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at SilverIso1. You can follow Ian on Twitter at IanWaffles. Ian, anything else you want to plug real quick?
No. As usual, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, and like I said last week, share us with your friends. Force your friends to invite your friends on a really long car ride, and then put us on. And then when they're like, "Hey, can we listen to something else?" Just slap their hand every time they reach for
2 times speed. Say, now we're going Sonic speed.
No, we're good. We're not. Look, don't listen to us at normal speed. I think we deserve that, right? Ian, you're not agreeing with me.
Anyway, thank you all for watching. It was a great time. Bye.
Bye.